the Hollywood Unapologetic Podcast with Orlando Delbert, Filmmaking Essentials.
So you're looking to get a handle on what's happening in the video game industry, especially with these labor disputes and, well, everything surrounding AI.
Exactly. It's pretty complex territory.
Today, we're really digging into the recent SAG-AFTRA video game strike. We'll look at how it connects to older issues, these alleged agreement violations, and really focus on this core conflict over AI voice acting.
And we'll also touch on what it all means for the industry as a whole, and perhaps for you, if you're part of that emerging group of content creators.
Right. Now, to do this, we've pulled together quite a few sources.
We have reports from UNI Global Union and GameWorkers.org, which give us insight into working conditions from surveys. Then there's background from Wikipedia on the SAG-AFTRA strikes, both Hollywood and the video game-specific one.
We also looked at a Reddit discussion on AI voices, which was quite revealing.
Definitely. And an analysis from the Brookings Institution on the Hollywood writers' strike and AI, plus some other industry articles to round things out.
Our goal here is really to pull out the key insights from all this, give you a clear understanding of how these things connect without burying you in information.
Let's try and make sense of it all.
Okay, let's start with the big picture. The labor issues that have been simmering in the gaming industry for a while. That UNI Global Union survey from May 2022, the findings there were pretty stark.
They really were. A huge majority, 83% of video game workers, said they had problems at work. So, well, that's a lot.
An incredibly high number. Were these all distinct problems, or was there a common theme? I mean, beyond just low pay and long hours, though those were clearly big.
Well, the survey definitely showed a pattern. Low pay was number one. 66% mentioned that specifically.
Okay.
Then, tied for second, were excessive work demands and hours and inadequate benefits, both reported by 43%.
43%. Still very significant.
Absolutely. And other things came up too. Lack of access to training or needed software, worries about job security, and even discrimination or sexual harassment, which 35% reported.
It points towards some systemic issues, doesn't it? Not just one-off bad experiences.
That's certainly the impression the data gives.
And the report mentioned where those excessive hours were most common.
It did. It highlighted North America, localization firms, and the big AAA studios. Also specific roles. Programmers, producers, translators seemed particularly affected.
Any idea why those areas specifically? Is it just the culture, project pressures?
The UNI report didn't explicitly state the why, but you can make some educated guesses. AAA development is incredibly high pressure, huge budgets, tight deadlines. That almost certainly fuels long hours.
Makes sense.
And localization often has very tight turnarounds to hit global release dates. As for North America, well, some might argue there's a broader work culture aspect there too compared to other regions.
Okay. Now, connecting that to a more recent source, the GameWorkers.org 2023 survey, that seemed to really double down on these concerns.
It absolutely did. A really striking finding from GameWorkers.org was about career sustainability. Less than half the workers surveyed expected to still be in the industry after 7 years.
Wow, less than half planning past year 7. That screams burnout potential.
Exactly. It really highlights how demanding the industry can be, how it grinds people down, perhaps.
What else did that survey bring to light?
It confirmed widespread issues people were facing. Unfair pay gaps, not enough retirement security, pressure to work unpaid overtime, low wages generally, and just plain burnout and exhaustion.
And crucially,
2/3 of the people surveyed felt they couldn't actually negotiate solutions to these problems on their own. That points strongly towards a need, or at least a desire, for collective action, for bargaining power.
it's not just about the paycheck itself, though. The way people are employed matters too, right?
Oh, definitely. The survey showed most are W-2 employees, but a significant chunk, about 17.5%, are 1599 independent contractors.
And that's important because
the main framework for unionizing in the U.S., the National Labor Relations Act, mostly covers traditional employees. It's a different ballgame for contractors regarding collective bargaining rights.
I see. And pay structures, salary versus hourly.
Mostly salaried, but many are hourly too. And many salaried workers are classified as exempt. That often means no legal right to overtime pay, even if they're working 50, 60 hours a week consistently.
Right. Did the GameWorkers data show how pay breaks down by role?
Yes, and it was pretty clear. Quality assurance, or QA, roles were the lowest paid. That's across both W-2 and 1099 workers.
Even compared to other departments with similar experience levels.
Yes, significantly less per hour, even when controlling for factors like experience or sector. And remember, a lot of the early union pushes in gaming started in QA departments.
That context is important.
And adding to that, over half said they couldn't negotiate raises individually, and many felt their pay just wasn't keeping up with the cost of living.
Okay, so these surveys together really map out deep systemic problems. Low pay, long hours, precariousness, lack of individual power. It feels like fertile ground for disputes.
Exactly. These long-standing issues are almost certainly the backdrop for the strikes we're seeing now.
So let's pivot to those strikes, starting maybe with the Hollywood one as context.
Right. The 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike in Hollywood happened alongside the Writers Guild, WGA strike. It was a big deal, lasted 118 days.
And the drivers there were?
A mix of things. But key concerns were about fair compensation in the age of streaming services and, very relevant to our discussion, the looming threat of AI in creative fields.
That Hollywood strike did eventually get resolved, right? December 2023, a tentative agreement with some AI protections included.
It did. Though it's interesting, actor Tyler Perry noted it's a 3-year deal, hinting that this isn't the final word. These issues, especially AI, will likely be back on the table.
Which brings us squarely to the 2024-2025 SAG-AFTRA video game strike. Important to stress this is separate.
Absolutely crucial distinction. This dispute is specifically about the interactive media agreement, the contract covering actors in video games.
And while there's overlap on issues like pay and working conditions,
The real flashpoint, the central, highly contentious issue, is AI voice acting and the fear it will replace human actors.
and the strike didn't just pop up overnight. Talks were ongoing for a long time before this.
Nearly 2 years of contract negotiations between the union and major game companies failed to produce an agreement. That tells you how deep the disagreements run, especially on AI.
Okay, so let's unpack that core dispute, AI voice acting. That Reddit discussion you mentioned, what were the different viewpoints there?
It was quite a mix. On one side, people saw potential benefits, like using AI for more personalized dialogue. Imagine an in-game announcer actually saying your player name.
Okay, I can see that.
Or using it to create much more extensive background dialogue, that granular content, which might be prohibitively expensive to record fully with human actors for every single possibility.
So expanding scope, potentially.
There was also the idea floated of a hybrid approach. Use AI for minor characters or less critical lines, but keep human actors for the main story, the key performances.
A potential compromise, maybe. But what were the big concerns people raised?
The dominant concern was that the main driver isn't artistic possibility, it's cost-cutting. That companies will use AI simply to replace human actors and save money.
Leading to fears about job losses, obviously.
Job losses, yes, but also fears about a drop in quality, that the nuance, the emotion, the artistry human actors bring will be lost.
And ethical issues came up too.
Big time. Especially around using the voices of actors who have passed away. Can you ethically train an AI on their voice without explicit prior consent? And broader questions about consent for any actor whose voice might be used to train an AI model.
That idea of stolen voices, using data without permission to potentially take someone's job, that feels fundamentally wrong to many.
That sentiment was very strong in the discussion. It's seen as deeply unethical.
How does the actual SAG-AFTRA agreement, the interim one, address this?
Well, the interim interactive media agreement acknowledges the importance of human performance. It also explicitly recognizes generative AI's potential impact on jobs.
So it sees the issue. What does it do about it?
It requires employers to give the union written notice beforehand if they plan to use generative AI to create material that would replace work normally done by human actors.
Notice is required. Is there an exception?
Yes, the main exception is for creating digital replicas of performers, if the performer gave explicit consent for that replica to be made and used.
So some guardrails, primarily around notification and consent for replicas. This sounds a bit like the ground covered in the Hollywood writers' strike.
Very similar themes. The Brookings Institution analysis of that writer's strike is really insightful here. The writers achieved something significant.
Which was?
They essentially secured the right to decide if and how AI is used as a tool in their writing process. Critically, the human writer must always get full credit and compensation. AI can be a tool, but not the author.
That's a major protection. What drove the writers to be so firm on this? What was their nightmare scenario?
Their big fear was studios using AI to churn out first drafts and then just hiring writers at lower rates to basically edit or polish the AI's output.
Devaluing the writer's role.
Exactly. Reducing job quality, job security, and pay. Someone termed it the Uberification of Hollywood, turning skilled creative work into gig-based editing tasks.
What helped the writers win that fight, according to Brookings?
Several things. They were very effective at getting public support, shaping the narrative. Copyright law also played a part currently. Only human-created works get copyright protection. And fundamentally, they argued successfully that, for now at least, human creativity is indispensable for quality storytelling.
So lessons there for the video game actors and other workers facing AI.
Definitely. Brookings highlights being proactive. Don't wait for the tech to be fully implemented. Fight for worker control over how automation is used. And crucially, the power of collective action through unions, possibly needing updated labor laws too.
These strikes, this whole AI debate, it feels like it could really reshape the video game industry. And it must be relevant for people just starting out, this new Hollywood generation.
Absolutely. The potential ripple effects are huge. We could see big shifts in how voice actors are hired, what their roles look like, questions about the artistic quality of games if AI becomes dominant.
And the business side?
Cost pressures on developers and publishers are real. Plus, as UNI Global Union noted, the industry is consolidating, bigger companies getting bigger. That can shift the power balance even further away from workers.
So for those emerging creators, filmmakers, why is paying attention to this stuff so vital?
Because these are the issues that will shape their working world. The lessons from the writer's strike, the ongoing actors' strike about collective power, protecting creative value against AI, fighting for fair pay and conditions. These are directly relevant to their future careers.
It's not just about the tech, it's about the working environment they'll inherit or create.
Precisely. They need to think now about the ethics of using these tools, their relationships with performers, the long-term sustainability of their creative practices. Especially as big film and TV studios invest more heavily in games, the lines between these industries are blurring, and so are the labor issues.
Okay, so let's try and pull the threads together. We've seen these deep-rooted labor issues in gaming pay, hours, security. These fuel the current SAG-AFTRA video game strike.
And that strike, much like the Hollywood writers before it, has AI right at its center, specifically protecting human voice actors from being replaced or devalued by AI technology.
The outcomes here will have major implications for the whole gaming industry, and they offer really important lessons for anyone involved in content creation today.
Whether you're deep in the industry or just starting out, understanding these dynamics, technology, labor, ethics, is becoming non-negotiable.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider. As AI keeps advancing, how do entertainment industries find that balance? The balance between embracing innovation and genuinely valuing, protecting, and fairly compensating the human beings whose creativity is still essential.
And what role will unions, collective action, play in striking that balance? Ultimately, what does all this mean for the quality, the integrity, the very soul of the stories and experiences we consume? You can find more insights on navigating the entertainment industry and achieving success in Orlando Delbert's work, including his book, Pollyanna's Tear-Soaked Battlefields of Hollywood, a survival guide against the cynicism and the hypocritical, and of course, the Hollywood Unapologetic platform. And always remember, you are the key to your own success. You are the new Hollywood generation.
Be informed, be prepared, and most importantly, be great.
That's it. Be great. Good luck out there.
See you next time.